Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the Canary Wharf Los Angeles showroom in West Hollywood. I'm here with Joshua Bregman with his movie Scattered. Let's take a look at a clip.
Hey, that's a cool device.
It's a photo, actually.
I thought it was like a phone or something.
No, just a photo.
Oh, it's a sweet picture. God, if that's from before the rot, that must be at least.
It is.
Hey, you were cute. Okay, you know, he looks just like that.
Can I get a Coke, please?
Josh, it's amazing to have you here and congratulations on your film. Tell us a brief synopsis of Scattered.
Very briefly, it's a story about a young man who discovers that his father is a mad scientist. And 15 years ago, his father committed an act which changed the world, which I'll leave secret. And the young man, 15 years later, it's the year 2030, and he's trying to reconcile that. So his father's just out of prison, and they meet, and he confronts him about what he did.
And I mean, I'm already wanting to watch the film when I saw the synopsis. How do you come about this idea?
I am a big fan of a Glaswegian science fiction author named Ken MacLeod. And he published a short story in an anthology from MIT Technology Review. And I read the story and I thought it was great, and I thought I could bring something to it, so I reached out to him and the publisher, and they gave me permission to use the story. And we had to change a lot of elements, but we ended up making it work with what we had to work with.
Josh, what is it like making an adaptation from like one of the people you look up to, one of your heroes? That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a really great experience. Ken was really, really nice about it, and I sent him script drafts as I came up with them, and he would give me notes and suggestions, and he was super encouraging the whole way, and yeah, it was a really great experience all around. He's a great guy, so we were really grateful that he let us do that.
Well, it's absolute admiration to make a movie that's set in the future in a short film version at independent level. That's pretty phenomenal. But you had this really, it was like a wonderful scene around a table between a father and son, and you know, had a great cast. How did you come about finding the cast?
We put out calls. We reached out to agents and managers. We put out calls on the casting websites, and we had about 5 days of casting, of auditions and interviews. And then we finally got our great cast, and then we, you know, once we cast one or two, then we had a couple other sessions where they would come in and play off other people, so that we could see how they work together.
And you obviously had a good team because, you know, as I said, making the film into like a film in the future was incredible. What sort of elements did you have? Did you have a great production design to help you with that?
Yeah, we had really great production design. We also had some great visual effects. And we were kind of mixing and matching elements, so there's some very distinctly American production elements, but it's in a British context. So we thought that might help to sort of create the impression that, you know, in the future things have become so globalized that it's not really clear where anything is anymore. Everything's mixed and matched, and then we had some visual effects elements that created, you know, sort of small future technologies. Things that we'll probably have in 15 years, but we don't have now, just to give the viewer the sense that they're there.
Yeah, I found that fascinating. I was like, oh yeah, are we gonna have this in a few years' time? It's like watching Back to the Future.
Yeah, exactly.
But one thing I was just fascinated is that you're from the East Coast, you live in LA, but you made the film in the financial district of London, Canary Wharf. Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, well, I went over to London several years ago to go to Met Film School for graduate school. So that this film was actually my thesis project there.
Wow.
So that was we made several films while we were there, and this was sort of the big one at the end. So I worked together with my producer, Victoria Namova, who is also a student there. This was her thesis project as well. And then the cast and the crew, some people were people we went to school with, and some people were people we met and knew from being in town. So yeah, that's how I ended up in London.
But in terms of like making your film, as I say, it's a thesis film. Was there any kind of like challenges for you making this film?
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges. I mean, we had to raise all the funds ourselves. So we started an Indiegogo campaign for that. It helped a lot that Ken's fan base is very dedicated and devoted, and they were really excited to see that there was a film going to be made of his work, because it's the first film made of his work.
Wow.
So they, once he put the word out on the internet, a lot of them chipped in, which was really fantastic.
That's amazing.
And yeah, so that
And he was happy with the project, of course. I'm
yeah,
sure.
we sent him the final cut, and he, gave us a thumbs up, and he, a hearty congratulations, and he's been really amazing about, helping us to get the word out and publicize it. So that was, but initially when you just have the script and you have nothing but the idea, and then you're sort of like, okay, how are we gonna make this happen? It seems like a big mountain to climb. And then there were other challenges. His original story is set in the Glasgow train station. We weren't able to film there due to the Olympics occurring at that time.
Yeah.
So we reset it in the diner and the docks, and had to change several things around. And then there were writing challenges. The story is told from the first person perspective of the protagonist, and we have a view into his thoughts, and so obviously in cinema you don't get that. So I had to figure out how to get those expositional elements out, make it clear to a viewer and compelling.
And as a director, like, did you, is there any certain techniques that you brought to the actors to kind of create that sort of like I was kind of tense watching it, thinking, what was going on, and the history, you could feel the history, or was it something that they kind of like developed themselves as characters?
Yeah, the actors, they brought a lot of great ideas to the table about, how to approach their characters and their interaction. Building the tension also helped. It was actually a very tense shoot because of in the location we're at, it was incredibly hot. It was a summer day, and we couldn't control the. Yeah, it was the summer day in London, and yeah, so it was hot, and there was a lot of sound issues. So it was like everybody was working hard, but it was hard work. So that helped actually in an interesting way, and yeah, mostly we had a lot of conversations about who their characters were, what they were working on in a scene, and kicked ideas back and forth. And the actors were great, and they had plenty of ideas, and they would sort of, how about he does this, or how about she does that, and and then we'd work on it together.
So what's it like, you've made this thesis film, and then all of a sudden it's part of the BRIT Week New Filmmakers, and you've been officially selected. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, it was massively exciting. Yeah, it was, especially that I live here now and we can show it here now in the city, and it was really awesome to be part of this. It's been great to show it again. We released the film a little while ago and online, and we had a great response online, and it's been really lovely to be able to screen it for a live audience.
Well, you deserve it. It's what happens when you're a talented filmmaker, right? You get your film selected. So what's kind of next for you, Joshua?
I'm working on a couple other short ideas with some friends of mine in town. Since I've been in town, I've been linking up with writers. There are a couple other adaptation ideas I'd like to work on as well. So I'm in talks with those writers and publishers to get permission to do those projects. And yeah, I'm still relatively new to LA, so I'm sort of, getting out there and meeting folks, and I want to do, make another film. I think I'll make it LA based, use the desert in downtown, which are places which I really love.
It's amazing,
Yeah, but I kind of want to keep working in this sci-fi and sort of lo-fi sci-fi area.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like that. That's good. Well, listen, I'm excited to see more of your films. I loved your film Scattered, and I know that we'll be seeing much more of it. So, congratulations on this one, and until next time with the Lo-Fi Sci-Fi.
Awesome.
Thank you, Joshua. You're welcome. Thank you.